is really happening?
Yeah, it's happening.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Jurassic World Chaos Theory video. In today's video, we have something special, as we have some special guests attending today. The two executive producers and showrunners on Jurassic World Chaos Theory are here today to help answer some questions I had about the show and what their time was like working on the series. I tried my best to get all of my questions answered, as some I felt were very important for the fans, but others I really wanted to know on a deeper level. Please note that there are some spoilers in this video throughout the entire series of Chaos Theory Season 1, and that unfortunately, I do not have my webcam set up quite yet. Therefore, I didn't actually have my visuals working in this interview. But fear not, as the main characters for today's video, Scott Kreamer and Aaron Hammersley, were both in attendance. Do also forgive me if I sound different, as time zones meant that I was awake during 3 AM in my local time during this call. I'm not joking. We're still aiming for 250,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you're interested in learning more from the Jurassic franchise, then please feel free to press that subscribe button so you don't miss an upload. We're also targeting 2,000 likes on today's videos, so why not also like the video as well? But now, without any further ado, make sure you're sat back, relaxed, and enjoying your G Fuel after using code SWERVE, as it's time to learn more from the showrunners of Jurassic World Chaos Theory. But yeah, so firstly, thank you so much for coming back with Chaos Theory from Camp Cretaceous. It's wow, it's incredible. And when we first learned about Chaos Theory, the fans, they went crazy about it, that's for sure. So, you know, firstly, I want to ask, how did you come up with the story for Chaos Theory? Did you always want it to be like a mystery, like it was for season 1?
Yeah, that's where the jumping off point came. I said before they wanted to do a follow-up series, and we were pretty happy with how Camp Cretaceous wrapped up. So there wasn't any initial plans, but they did talk about that. So Dominion was still being made, and we said, well, to know where we would go with the story, we would need to know what's in Dominion. So Aaron and I got on the Zoom with a bunch of execs from Universal, and they wouldn't show us an early cut. I don't even know if there was an early cut. But they started talking us through Dominion. And it was the small detail of that the Department of Fish and Wildlife would be the ones in charge of dinosaurs. And I just started thinking, that's a job Darius would probably have. But what if Darius quit that job? Okay, well, why would Darius quit that job? Well, maybe Darius doesn't like dinosaurs anymore. And maybe because something happened to someone he loved. And that's kind of where the whole thing started. It was like just this small little detail. And I've always liked conspiracy thrillers, and that's just kind of started it. That's where the germ of the idea started.
Right. I mean, yeah, you can definitely see that you've implemented that idea straight into the show, which is amazing. So, but you did mention how you needed to kind of learn where Dominion was going, and you can see like the timeline, they're very similar. And I know people want clarification on this. Does Chaos Theory take place before Dominion or after Dominion?
Oh, it's before.
Before.
Yeah, it's before. It's I guess the months leading up to Dominion. Everything kind of changed once the pandemic shut down Dominion and everything got pushed out. But yes, the series does take place before Dominion. But you always want to know what's going to happen, because part of our job is telling our own story, but it's also not stepping on anything else that anyone else is going to be doing.
Right. Okay. And was that like a collective decision to make sure it takes place before Dominion?
Well, it had to, because we didn't really know everything that was going to happen in Dominion. They don't, the people at Universal Pictures don't want us, they wouldn't want us going past Dominion without really knowing, what's coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just to make sure.
Yeah.
Great, because there's loads of references there within season 1 already, and it's great to see that you're implementing the wider universe of Jurassic, because I think Darius mentioned something about the Barbasol can, some carnivorous locusts at some point as well. So how did you decide to come up with, because with theories you can play around with nearly anything when it comes to Easter eggs and references. How did you decide what you wanted to implement? And was there anything that was kind of, left behind that you wanted to implement?
Oh, probably. I mean, we consider many ideas, for everything. And as we're getting with Ben with his different theories, I don't know, I thought the idea of him thinking big shaving cream was behind it all made me laugh and made other people laugh. But yeah, there's stuff out in the world, and the thing about the locusts, and we had many different ideas. At one point, I think we mentioned the Manicore underwater lab, which I think was a plan at one point back in Camp Cretaceous. So, that all kind of came from the writers, but as well the artists, the designers. When we kind of got into the conspiracy theories, we just we had a bunch of pitches, and a few made it into the show.
Right. Did either of you two have a favorite?
Again, big shaving cream makes me laugh. I don't know, Aaron.
Oh man, I feel like it all has, because we've worked on so much stuff since then. I don't recall enough of all of our Easter egg ideas.
Yeah, because that was all pretty early in the season.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's some good ones. No, there's plenty of good ones to pick from. But throughout the season, we've had loads of new characters, some returning characters like Daniel Kahn. Because I know how much the fans love and adore Dave and Roxy. Were there any Camp Cretaceous characters that you wanted to bring back, but you just couldn't at the same time?
Yeah, there were a lot of early ideas where Dave and Roxy and Dr. Turner were going to come back, but then once you start figuring out what the story is and what the story is that you're telling, but there was definitely plans or ideas pitched. I know I definitely thought that in early days when first when Aaron and our head writer Bethany Armstrong Johnson and I were banging our heads together to try to figure out what the show was going to be. I think that I had a pitch once where like Kenji was still rich and Dave was like his Alfred. And I'm much happier where we ended up with this story.
Right.
His new simpler life. But yeah, I mean, you consider a million different ideas before you get it where you want it to be.
Of course, yeah. And I assume one of the ideas would be what I like to call the creepy raptor lady. So you have to tell me about her. Like what inspired you to make a character so unique but terrifying at the same time without even saying a word throughout the whole season?
Yeah, she was definitely a big collaboration. The idea when we first came up with the idea to have a raptor handler being taken care of the raptors. It started with we wanted a character who was more comfortable with dinosaurs than she was with people, and more reptilian. But we wanted a really terrifying bad guy, and Aaron had ideas as far as what the design ought to look like. So he started drawing.
Yeah, I like villains that sort of demand your attention, and this was definitely I took a lot of inspiration from like No Country for Old Men, the Coen brothers film, the villain in that being sort of singular in focus and and just absolutely terrifying, that they, that they have, there's nothing will get in their way. So that was sort of the inspiration for this character, and I liked the idea of her just being, in some ways, almost like some sort of a ghost or something when you look at her. We also, like, I wanted to push, like, giving her like freckles, a lot of freckles, so that she almost has sort of a reptilian feel to her.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just really liked the idea of having a character that we haven't seen before in this franchise, that really just is almost as scary as the dinosaurs are.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you definitely nailed that. That's for sure. Does she have a name by any chance?
We'd call her she started out as the raptor handler.
Okay.
And we just call her the handler now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. To me, that's even more terrifying that she doesn't have a name. Makes her less human.
Yeah.
But of course, she's the raptor handler with Atrociraptors, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they're the same Atrociraptors we see from Jurassic World Dominion, right? Ghost, Panthera, Tiger.
Yeah, it looked like there was 3 of them there.
Yeah, not quite 4.
Wondering
where Red is. But what was the idea of progressing the Atrociraptor story? Because with Chaos Theory now taking place before Dominion, I assume this is kind of like their backstory to what happens in Dominion.
Yeah, I mean, that was what we liked, the idea of, originally they were going to be they were going to be different dinosaurs. And then once Colin had time and came in and started, pitching ideas with us and figuring out our season 1, he liked the idea of bringing it back to the Atrociraptors. So, yeah, once we landed on that, the idea of this would be sort of their prequel to Dominion, and we like the idea of starting with something like the whistle, as opposed to as sort of a precursor to the laser that you see in the movie.
Yeah, it's a great way to kind of show the primitive backstory of how they became so talented in trying to hunt down their prey when they're locked onto it. So it's a great journey to see these Atrociraptors grow, because you kind of, sure, they have names, but you grow with them and you see them more as characters, like we do with Blue, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, what's fun with that is because, like, another, back to the handler, it's like, I don't think she has anything against anyone. She's got a job to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only time you see any sort of emotion from her is when the raptors are hurt. And it humanized her a bit, but in the same way, like you're saying, it made the Atrociraptors more of, actual characters.
Yeah.
So that was definitely something we were trying to do.
Okay, I'll go with the final question here, because I'm pretty sure it's a big one here. So we were left on a cliffhanger in season 1. 2 cliffhangers. The campers are now on the boat, and obviously with Brooklyn still being alive. Could you maybe give us a little tease or glimpse into what we can expect for the future of their story, as the campers seem to now explore this wider world of Jurassic, and they're not just stuck to the islands anymore?
Yeah, well, if we get to do more, we want to explore. This is not much of an answer for you, man. But those are areas that we have a lot of story we want to tell. And when they tell us we can do more of them, that's those exactly what you just said. We will, there's so many questions now to answer about Brooklyn. What happened? What's she doing now? What was she doing before? Is she the person we thought she was? And why didn't she tell anyone she's alive?
Exactly.
And like you said, now we've got the kids on a boat going to parts unknown. And as we saw dinosaurs proliferate around the world in Dominion, we would, if we're doing more, that's definitely something we would want to tell as part of our story.
Sounds good. Good to leave it all to the imagination and see where Chaos Theory is going to take us, and hopefully as good of a journey as Camp Cretaceous was.
Well, appreciate that. Now go get some rest.
For sure, yes. Thank you so much for your time today.
You bet.